Well, Egypt is preparing to spend billions of dollars, doubling the size of a lavish new capital it is building in the desert east of Cairo, where the first residents are already trickling in. The city is the biggest of a series of mega projects that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi says are needed for economic development and to accommodate a growing population of 105 million people. Beryl Oro has that story.
Government employees transferred in July to ministries and offices built in the new city's Phase 1 have settled in, 8 years after the launch of the project known as the new administrative capital.
100% of the government is working now. We have now almost 48,000 employees coming in every day to all the ministries and some of the public authorities and organizations working from here. And this is we start moving from last March, but the beginning of last July, all the government is working from here, starting from the Prime Minister and all the ministries with all the entities.
Built on virgin land, the city is designed to serve as a high-tech model for Egypt's future away from the clutter and chaos of Cairo. The government wants to absorb part of Egypt's population, which is growing by an estimated 1.6% a year.
We have lots of demand now. That's why we need to start immediately in Phase 2. If there is a demand, we'll go after a year or something like that. We can work on Phase 3.
An electric train from eastern Cairo has begun operating, and an elevated monorail is due to start from the second quarter of this year. Up to 100,000 housing units have been finished, and 1,200 families have moved in. Major banks and other businesses will move their headquarters within the first quarter of 2024.
Our target in Phase 1 is 1.5 million, and I think this is the same in Phase 2. So all this need services. All those people we're going to need the services like hospitals, schools, commercial, everything, plus the roads and the landscape, everything on this.
A plant near Cairo's suburb of Ma'adi will send 800,000 cubic meters per day of scarce Nile water starting in 2 years. A second 700,000 cubic meter plant is planned in the future. Together, the two will consume roughly 1% of Egypt's share of the Nile's water.
For the infrastructure, I think we're going to invest between 250 to 300 billion Egyptian pounds. But it's almost the same what we think that it's the same in Phase 1. But there's main things we've done in Phase 1. We're not going to do it in Phase 2.
Egypt's finances have come under strain from an overvalued currency, a decline in remittances and surging debt repayment costs after heavy overseas borrowing. To help with costs of expanding the project, there are plans to float 5 to 10% of its shares on the stock exchange by the end of 2024 in a sale that could raise 4 to 6 million USD. Beryl Oro, CGTN.